Hey everybody, so I'm on the trail, another trail, a new trail. It's kind of funny how you've been in a place, it's kind of close to where you live, and then you find something that you've never explored before. And it just goes to show that sometimes we go further away from where we are to try to find something that's really amazing. And then sometimes when we stumble upon something that's right under our nose and we didn't even see it. And this is the trail that I'm on, and just give a span. And back towards that way is the water. So I'm moving away from the water and into the woods. So it just goes to show that sometimes things that are close to home are right in front, you don't even know they exist. And this is such a great find. I'm really enjoying this quiet trail. I was sitting near the beach earlier, did some journaling, read my Bible. It was a beautiful, quiet time, and there was a couple that came near where I was, but again, they just kind of said hi and they went a different direction. And that's where, people are being respectful. They're not trying to mess with your calm and your silence. They notice that you're there, that you've already, I already staked out the area. I had first dibs, if you will, and they just went in another direction. So that's what I would call respectful. So it's good to know that there are people out there that kind of let you claim your space, So that was kind of cool. And just got to thinking about, again, when you're in a space like this, anything that's nature related, it just clears my head, It's like I just have a different perspective when I'm closer to God, when I'm closer in nature. I feel closer to God, and I just feel like anything is possible, And I start to be more inspired that that life is good. There's hope. That there's yet things for me to conquer, and things for me to be creative with, and that's awesome. And maybe it's also the timing. This year is ending, and I think about a new year beginning, and what kind of things do I want to bring forth, what kind of things I want to let go of. And I know I'm talking the Gregorian calendar right now, but God's calendar also has its own timing as well. And like Hanukkah is about giving honor to the Shema, and the Shema is actually Yeshua, Jesus. Jesus is the Shema, the light that lights everything else. And when we really take heed that God is in control and He has a plan, that we're a part of that plan, and that when we are in alignment with what God wants for us, then our plans go smoothly. But when we're trying to go against what God has in store for us, we're gonna probably meet with some obstacles, and we're gonna get redirected. And when we realize that there is a positive way to do things and there's a negative way to do things, again, it's up to us to pay attention and, get redirected when we're off track. So, how do you get off track? What do you do to get yourself back on track? I think that's the beauty of how God works with us. You know, he's gonna let us know when we're doing the wrong thing, and he's gonna redirect us to what we need to do to get back on path. So it's a learning experience, right? It truly is. So when I think about, sometimes I've gotten off track, you know, when I thought that I basically was on the right track, and then I find out that I'm not on the right track because I was misrepresenting something or misunderstanding something or just thinking that things were a certain way when in fact they really weren't that way. I'm really trying to understand what this little deck is in the middle of nowhere. Not really intrigued with that, but okay. But the idea that, like, God is in control and he's trying to show us what we're missing, where we might be lost, you know, what's going to bring us back on path. And at the same time, like, we're still like in our, now I see it's orange, so I'm going to go this way again. So that's orange, this is white, so I'm going to stay in white. So we're constantly being directed, yes, redirected. Okay, so that's orange too. All right, so I'm going to stay back on white. All right, that one says that's white too. Let's just make sure. Like anything else, sometimes you have to backtrack a little to make sure you're on the same place that you want to go. So here we go. This is, like I said, this is a new trail, so I'm learning as I go, paying attention and learning as I go. So God's always redirecting us into a certain way, and he's giving us symbols or suggestions or signs along the way saying, yeah, you're on the right path. No, you're not on the right path. This is where I want you to go. This is where I don't want you to go. But the question is, are we paying attention? Are we listening? Are we aware of who or what we're being directed to or away from, you know? And sometimes we need to pay attention more clearly than what we originally thought. Make sure I'm going the right way. Okay. So, all of these awarenesses are to bring us into a deeper connection with who God is, who he wants us to be in the best version of ourselves. And sometimes we, you know, in our own mind think that our way is the best way or the better way, or we have a handle on things, when in fact we really don't. We're off base, we're misdirected, we're going the wrong way, etc. And there's a tweaking, you know, but that obedience comes from realizing that sometimes we have to ask for help. Sometimes we have to reach out and say, God, I'm lost. I don't know what I'm doing. Somehow I got off track. I want to be in your alignment. I'm out of alignment. What do I need to do to come back and be on the right path, to be on the right track? And that takes a humbled heart. That takes a willing heart to admit that you're off track and that you're not going the right way. You're not going the way God intended you to go. And sometimes that can be frustrating because we want to believe that our way is a better way. And God is so gentle with us. He's just like, my son, my daughter, come back. You know? So when you get off the beaten trail and you're kind of going the wrong way, the question is, what do you do to get back on track? So if you look at your 2025 and you say, hey, I did this and that was great, but that's really not the way I want to go for 2026, then what are the things you're willing to let go of? What are the things you're willing to give up? What are the things are you willing to say, this is really not helping me? And again, when I think about some of the basic things that I'm going to be doing differently, and that's scrolling, you know, sometimes you can just, I'm trying to look for something specifically and then I end up scrolling and spending more time doing something that I didn't really intend to do. And then it's like, okay, wait a minute. I really didn't intend to spend that much time on this particular scrolling or this particular research for this task. And I'm sure there's a better way for me to be more active in my time and less reactive or less dopamine hitting, you know, for the mere choice of maybe I'm going to get my answer about this particular thing. So it just goes to show that sometimes we have to go a little bit off the path in order to get redirected. And I'm actually going to head back in a different direction because this particular trail is not, the colors have changed. So I'm going to go back to get back on the white trail, and that's where I think I got off point because the signs were kind of leading the same way, but they're not. So refocus, right? Retweaking, illustrating my case in point that sometimes we get off track and we go a little bit off the beaten, and then God's going to redirect us back towards where he really wanted us to go. And, you know, this is building a relationship with God. So in the beginning, you might not hear clearly, or maybe you don't, you're learning to listen in a new way. So, be gentle with yourself in the process, because all of this is to understand more of, you know, who God wants us to be in his ideal version of us. And that's a righteous person, a person that listens, a person that follows the 10 Commandments, versus someone that's just trying to do things their own way all the time, not caring about what God wants. So, anyway, I think I'm going to stop here. And I hope you have a great afternoon. And I'll talk to you soon.